Please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another updates from my YouTube channel. Hello friends, today I'm going to talk about spring beans auto wiring. Okay, so first of all, I would like to discuss about what is auto wiring and how many types of auto wiring is there. So how we are going to be achieved by using at the rate of auto wire, I'm going to demonstrate here. So let me open my PPT here. Okay, first of all, what is auto wiring? Auto wiring is nothing but it allows spring to resolve and inject collaborating beans into our bean. So basically, it's going to provide dependence injection. Okay, so what is the dependence injection? Dependence injection is nothing but, so instead of we are creating the object, so the spring boot will create and provide for us. Spring container or spring boot container will provide for us. Okay, so that is the advantage of dependence injection. Okay, so this auto wire will simplifies our dependence injection and it will resolve and injecting collaborating beans wherever required. So there, it's going to inject our collaborating beans into our bean. Okay, let's open auto wire in the spring boot. So we have couple of types. One is by name, by type, constructor, setter, and so if you have any conflicts, okay, then we can use at the rate of qualifier here. So I'm going to explain at the rate of qualifier as well, and after that we have custom qualifier annotation. So how we are going to be create custom qualifier annotation, I'm going to explain that one as well. And after that we have primary, so we can resolve the conflicts by using at the rate of primary as well. And after that we have JSR 250 annotation, that is at the rate of resource. So by using at the rate of resource, how we are going to be resolve dependence injection, I'm going to explain here. And after that we have GSR 330 annotation, that is at the rate of inject. Okay, so I'm going to explain this all the examples in this video. Okay, so now let's go back to my project. This is Spring Boot project. I have one Spring Boot starter web dependency, and after that I have Lombok for setters and getters. So first, let me create one interface. Okay, that interface is car interface. Okay, and so here I'm going to create string drive method. Okay, now so we have different types of cars. So I'm going to create sedan car as well as Tesla car. Okay, first let me create sedan car here. Okay, sedan car. So this is going to be implements our car interface. Okay, let me implement the method, that is drive method here. Okay, let me provide some implementation. So let's provide driving sedan car. Okay, and so this is one service. Okay, to recognize our spring or spring boot container. Okay, so I'm going to declare at the rate of service here, and after that, so what I'm going to do is, let me create one controller. Okay, inside the controller package I'm going to create so car controller here. Okay, so let me annotate with at the rate of rest controller, and after that at the rate of request mapping to provide some mapping here. Okay, I'm going to take cars here, and after that, so we need car here, right? Sorry. So let me create car object here. So to resolve to inject collaborating beans into our car controller bean, so what we need to do is we have to declare at the rate of auto wire here. Okay, and now so let me write one method, so that is public, or I will take public string drive method. So this drive method will return car dot drive method, right? And now let's add one more annotation, that is get mapping here. Okay, so that's it. So if you start this application, okay, so this AutoWide is by type. Okay, let's take by type. So basically, so what it will does is basically it will check the type. Okay, if the type is matching with your service, then it is automatically creating the bean. Okay, let's see whether it's going to be throw the error or it will work. Okay, application is started. Now go back to my endpoint. Okay, this is my endpoint, localhost 8080 and the paths. Let's hit this. Okay, we'll see driving sedan car here. Okay, so because it is working fine, and so now what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to create one more service. Okay, let's create one more service, that is Tesla car. Tesla car. Okay, this Tesla car is one more service, and it is also going to be implement our car interface. Okay, car interface. Let's implement drive method here, and let's provide some implementation. So I'm going to write driving Tesla car here. Okay, and now if you start your application, okay, so Spring doesn't know which service it has to be implemented. Okay, it has to be throw some error. Let's start this. Okay, so it is throwing error. It is saying that consider marking one of the beans at the rate of primary, or like updating the consumer to accept the multiple beans, or using at the rate of qualifier to identify the correct bean that should be consumed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, first of all I'm going to explain about at the rate of qualifier. So if you open car controller here, okay, so inside that, so we have AutoWire. So to resolve this conflict, what we need to do is we have to declare at the rate of qualifier here. Okay, if you declare qualifier, so inside the qualifier you can provide name of the bean. So we have two beans, that is sedan and Tesla. So let's say that I need Tesla car here. So that is Tesla car bean I have provided here. And if you restart your application, you will see the Tesla car is driving as an output. Okay, application started, and let's go and hit the endpoint again. So this time we are seeing that driving Tesla car, right? So now go back to your code, and this is one way of resolving the conflict. And if I comment this, and we have car bean here, right? So this is by type. So what if, like, if I want to use by name here? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide Tesla car here, and okay, so this is by name. So it is going to be match, okay, the name of the bean. So here the name of the bean is Tesla car, and if you go back here, this is Tesla car bean is going to be created Tesla car like this. So if it is matching, then it's going to be created Tesla car, and it is going to be inject the Tesla car here. And if you restart your application, so this time also it should work without qualifier. Okay, it is started. Let's hit this endpoint. Okay, we are seeing the output driving Tesla car. Okay, so this is how it will work by name and by type. So till now we have declared on top of field. This is field injection. Okay, so what if, like, if you want constructor injection or setter injection? So let's say that, so I want to be inject by using constructor injection. So you can just declare final. So it will says that variable Tesla car might not have been initialized. Okay, so it is suggesting that add constructor as a parameter here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create constructor here, and instead of declaring AutoWide in the qualifier on the top of field, I'm going to declare on top of constructor. So that is at the rate of Autowiring, and the qualifier I'm going to be declare here. Qualifier, and let's provide some name. Okay, sorry guys, I forgot to reset the code. Okay, so here I'm going to provide Tesla car here. Okay, so that's it. So this is going to use constructor injection, and it's going to be create the Tesla car bean. So let's start this. Okay, it started guys, and let's hit the endpoint. Okay, driving Tesla car here. Okay, it's working fine. So this is one way of using constructor injection. And again, so this is boilerplate code, so I don't want to write this code as well. Okay, so let's comment this code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use at the rate of required args constructor. Okay, so this is Lombok annotation. I'm going to use Lombok annotation. This is going to be create required constructor for this controller. Okay, so here we have one more problem. So we have to provide qualifier here, right? So either you can provide qualifier, or like you can change this bean name. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use sedan car here. Okay, so now it's going to be create so constructor, and it's going to be pass this sedan car to this constructor. Okay, if you start this application, okay, it started. Let's hit the endpoint. So this time we are got the output driving sedan car, right? It's working fine. Okay, this is constructor injection. So let's comment out, and let's remove this code as well. And we have setter injection, right? So I want to discuss about setter injection here. So let's generate setter, okay, for this. And here on top of this setter I'm going to use at the rate of Autowiring, and same thing I'm going to use qualifier here. Okay, so let's declare qualifier, and here let's change this to car. Either you can define qualifier, or you can change this name here. Okay, so I'm just going to use at the rate of qualifier here. Okay, so let's start this application. The application is started. Now let's open our endpoint, and let's hit this. Okay, this time we are driving Tesla car. Okay, because we have provided qualifier as Tesla car, and this is how this Autowire and qualifier will be work. Now, so I don't want to use qualifier annotation. I want to be use, okay, customized qualifier annotation. So how we are going to be create the customized qualifier annotation, I'm going to explain here. And let's create one annotation. Okay, inside annotation package I'm going to create some car qualifier. Okay, so this will take few annotations, that is at the rate of target. So this target will have, okay, element type. So we will have element type is field, and we will have element type field type element, okay, type dot parameter, and we will have element type dot type. Okay, and it will take one more annotation, okay, that is retention, and it will take, so retention policy is, okay, runtime. So that's it. And finally I'm going to declare one value here. Okay, and so we have to declare at the rate of qualifier annotation on top of this annotation. Okay, so this will going to be act as custom qualifier annotation. So now let's go back to your car controller, and here instead of qualifier I'm going to use this car qualifier annotation. Okay, so instead of Tesla car I'm going to take sedan car. here. Okay, let's start this application and test this. Okay, application is started guys, and let's hit this endpoint. Okay, so this time we are seeing driving sedan car, so that means it's working fine. And so till now we have seen by name, by type, setter injection and constructor injection. Okay, as well as we have seen like how we can use qualifier if we have conflicts, and as well as like we have seen like how to create the custom qualifier annotation, right? And so one more thing, so if you don't want to be auto-wide your beans, okay, let's say that we have 100 beans, so you want to be auto-wide only few of the annotations, okay, so you don't want to be auto-wide like all the beans. How we are going to be achieve that? Okay, so to do that, what we need to do is we have to provide at the rate of, okay, required false. So let's say that your sedan car, okay, not going to be, so your sedan car is not going to be auto-wide your annotation. So how we are going to achieve that? So let's say that we have like required equal to false here. To start this application, so what it will does is basically, so instead of throwing the error at compile time, it's going to be throw at runtime. The application is started here, and if you hit the endpoint, okay, so it is throwing white label error page, because so we don't have sedan car as a service, because we have removed the service, and it just returning, okay, null pointer exception at runtime. So what if like if you don't provide this required equal to false, you will get the compile time error. Okay, so let's start this and see this. So it is throwing the error, right? And let's comment this code, and let's make use constructor injection here. Okay, so the constructor injection is going to be used Tesla car, but I need sedan car here. Okay, and let's start this application. Okay, so this is also throwing the error, right? And same thing, so if you want to be apply required equal to false, then you can, okay, let's start the server and see what will happen if you declare required on top of constructor here. Okay, so that is the difference guys, only this required equal to false is going to work on the setter, okay, not on constructor. So if you see here, even if you declare required equal to false, it is throwing the error at compile time. So that means, so it won't work on the constructor. Okay, so it will work on only setter injection. Okay, that's fine. And now I'm going to explain like one more annotation. Okay, so let's comment out this code. Okay, so I'm going back to field injection here. So we have like one more annotation, that is, so as we discussed in the PPT, okay, we have JSR 250 annotation at the rate of resource as well as inject. I'm going to explain resource here. Okay, so if you take resource here, okay, this is Java X annotation. Okay, and this is also is going to be work with the help of at the rate of qualifier here. Okay, so now if you start this application, so this resource and inject will work as same like Autowiring. Okay, application is started, and if you hit the endpoint, you will see the output driving Tesla car here. So that means, so we can make use qualifier with the combination of at the rate of resource. Okay, and we have at the rate of inject. So if you want to use inject annotation, okay, so that inject annotation is part of JSR 330 annotation. Okay, so you have to include one dependency, okay, that is java x dot inject dependency. Okay, and let's refresh this Maven to download this dependency. So download is completed. Now go back to your controller, and here instead of resource I'm going to use at the rate of inject here. Okay, so inject also is going to be work with the combination of at the rate of qualifier here. And let's start this application. Okay, application is started. Now let's hit the endpoint. Okay, we got the output driving Tesla car here. That means like inject annotation also it's working fine. So we have like one more combination. Instead of qualifier we can use at the rate of named annotation, that is okay, inject annotation. Let's use this. Okay, this combination also is going to be work. So can use either by using inject plus auto as well as inject with at the rate of named annotation. Okay, so this is the difference. Okay, so I forgot to explain about at the rate of primary. So we can use primary as well. So instead of inject, what I'm going to use, I'm going to use auto here. Okay, let's remove this qualifier or like at the rate of named here. And so we have two cars here, sedan car and Tesla car, right? So I'm going to use Tesla car, and let's add service. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use at the rate of primary here. Okay, so the primary we are going to use on top of beans. Okay, instead of like with the combination of auto we are going to use on top of beans. Okay, so if you use primary bean as sedan car, the sedan car is going to be create here. Okay, so let's start this application. Okay, application is started, and let's hit this endpoint. Okay, driving the sedan car. Okay, that means like it's working fine. Okay, that is the difference between like at the rate of qualifier and at the rate of primary. So the primary we can declare on the top of the pins, and if you are using qualifier, so the qualifier, the combination of auto we have to use. Okay, so that's it. So let's discuss about what is the difference between at the rate of auto and at the rate of inject and at the rate of resource here. Okay, so coming to the at the rate of resource, at the rate of resource annotation actually is based on JSR 250. So the difference is the execution paths taken to find out required bean into inject. So resource will narrow down the search. Basically like the resource annotation will narrow down the search like by using like first by name, and after that by type, and finally like it's going to be searched by using by qualifiers. If the match is found by using name, then it's going to be ignored. Okay, it's not going to be execute by type and qualifier. Okay, so this is the flow. First of all, like it's going to be used by name, by type and qualifier. And coming to like auto and inject, so the auto and inject will be narrowed down the search first by type and by qualifier, and finally by name. Okay, first by type and then by qualifier and by name. Okay, so that is the difference between resource and inject and autowide. Okay, okay, so this is basically the inject actually part of Java CDI, and the autowide is part of Spring framework. So if you are using like inject annotation, that is actually that inject has no required attribute. Okay, so but that option required attribute is not there in inject here. And coming to the default scope, in actually in the inject is singleton, and whereas autowide is prototype. Okay, and so inject is loosely coupled, whereas autowide is tightly coupled. Okay, so loosely coupled means let's say that if you have like so if you have like one application, okay, let's say that, so if you are using Spring framework, okay, so then in future if you want to use another framework, then it's loosely coupled, right? You can easily interact with another framework because we are not going to use any Spring annotation here, right? So it's an inject, so this is related to the uh, Java annotation, right? So then it's like loosely coupled annotation. So coming to the autowide, it's tightly coupled because it's integrated with the Spring framework. So if you want to use another framework, then it's not supported this autowide annotation. That is the difference. And dependency injection should be handled solely by the Jakarta Enterprise Edition platform. Then you can use at the rate of resource and at the rate of inject. Okay, and let's say that if you want to use Dependency injection should be handled solely by the Spring framework. Then you can use at the rate of Autowire. Okay, so that's it guys. I covered like all the topics here. So if I miss anything, so please let me know in the comment section. Okay, I will try to do in another video. Okay, so that's it. So if you like this video, please go ahead and like. So if you haven't subscribed my YouTube channel, so please go ahead and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thanks. Bye. Have a good day.